Good morning. It's day 12 of my 30-day challenge that I'm doing for myself, using my glucose meter as my fuel gauge and tracking along with the data-driven fasting group on their 30-day challenge. I'm ahead of them by 8 or 9 days or whatever. My deep voice, it's been deepening, and now I know why. I am not feeling well. Yesterday I started coughing and sneezing, and during the night I had some chills, and my across my cheeks there's pressure. So I did the responsible thing, since I'm with a house with other people in it, and I took a COVID test and I'm negative, so at least I can rest easy on that for their sakes. Not that I care about that. I've already had COVID last January and was pretty much asymptomatic. I only tested for COVID in January because I was with somebody that also was testing, did have symptoms, and he tested positive, and so did I, but I didn't feel sick. Anyway, let's get off that subject. Not off the subject of sickness, because I will add that I expect my glucose numbers to struggle today. Typically, when your body is fighting an illness, your glucose numbers will rise even if you don't eat. The body really wants glucose when it's sick. It's the fuel that is easiest for it to process. I find my husband and I have both found the same thing, that when we are under the weather, that's the time we want carbohydrates. We crave carbohydrates. So I will probably focus on trying to find some healthy carbs today, and if not, I'll just eat whatever. I'm gonna baby my body along today so that I try to get over this as quickly as possible. Yesterday's video was the longest video thus far, so, and today's will probably be the shortest since I don't feel well. I'm actually sad because I was supposed to have a date with someone from the local church today. We were gonna hang out together for the morning and catch up with each other, but during the night, getting, knowing I could not deny that yes, I was sick, and I couldn't do that. I couldn't pass that along to somebody else in good conscience. I texted her this morning and said, we're off. I opened the data-driven fasting app on my phone, and I touched on navigate, and then I touched on learn, and I looked through the frequently asked questions. I knew that the question was there. I wanted to find it for you. It's, should I fast when I'm sick? Infection and inflammation can affect your blood sugar. You may need more food for recovery, or you may lose your appetite while your body takes some downtime to heal when you are unwell. When you're sick, you can take a break from testing your blood sugars and follow your regular eating routine, or just listen to your healthy appetite signals and eat when hungry. You can recommence data-driven fasting once you recover. I'm just going to listen to my signals, my body signals, and follow that. And if I'm hungry, I'll eat. If I'm not, I will be drinking a Trim Healthy Mama drink called Hot Toddy or Boost Juice. I'll put a link to both of those drinks in the description box. I'm also going to use some bergamot essential oil. Last night I diffused, I was in a diffusing tent for a great portion of the night, diffusing eucalyptus globulus, I think it is, and that seemed to give me some relief. So let's go ahead and take my blood sugar and see what it is. I I expect it not to be in the low 70s, but I could be wrong. So here we go. I took the easy way out and I stood up. I didn't stand up. I took the easy way out and I just tested here, and I'll share the number with you. So, as I suspected, I got a 99. That's the highest I've gotten in all these 12 days. I'll read through the numbers for you so you can compare today with the other days. So on the first day, 91, 80, 95, 89, 88, 90, 87, 78, 83, 77, 77, two 77s in a row, and today's 99. So there had been a trend downward, but being under the weather, the body just will find glucose within itself if you don't give it glucose easily, like carbs. And so that's just been my experience, my personal experience through the 3 years of practicing fasting and tracking my glucose numbers. And my husband, as I said, observed the same thing. All of a sudden when he's sick, all he wants is saltines and toast and just cheap carbs. Those are not the things that I want when I'm sick. But anyway, I will go ahead and let me enter this number, the 99, on my data-driven fasting app as my waking number. So I went to the app. Again, you can't really see, well, you can see a shadow. I'm hitting track and glucose and waking, and I'm putting down 99. And actually, I do want to show you something because I've only shown you once before, so I will go ahead and get up. Okay, so I'm in process of entering the numbers. There's the waking 99, and then if I hit done, I can see the rest of the screen. And events, I can go ahead and, let's see, high stress, exercise fatigue, menses, poor sleep, pain. Well, it doesn't have the simple word of illness, so I guess the best thing to do would be to put down pain. Click on pain. See if I can see it. Click on it. All right, now my trigger is supposed to be 83. I'll show you the screen after I record this. Hit record and go to the dashboard. Temporary pain trigger 93. So whenever you have one of those events, you can click on one of the choices and you will be assigned a temporary trigger that is higher than your usual trigger, so that you can just back off a little bit and not press yourself so hard to get down to your trigger. I'm not going to pay much attention to that. I'm just going to pay attention to what my body tells me today. I noticed when I was looking at the screen, through this screen, that I didn't record my weight yesterday, which was 140.6. Today, it was, now I can't even remember, I have to look at my Renfo app, 140.4. So even with that junky stuff that I ate yesterday and the chocolate mousse cake or whatever, flourless chocolate cake, flourless chocolate torte, I didn't go up. I went down by 0.2 of a pound. So I can record that, and my app will show me that I weigh 140 pounds because it rounds down. Oh, that's why it says 141, because yesterday's weight, I did record it. It was 140.6, but it rounds up, so it puts me at 141 on the app. I think I'm going to need to send a message to Alex and say, could we see the tenths of weight? It's mentally helpful. I don't know if that's going to be a programming problem for him or not. I can ask, and he can say no. There's my Renfo screen, so I'm going to go ahead and record my weight on the data-driven fasting app, because that'll be a boost, a mental boost to me. So I'm going to hit track and biomarkers and select a biometric of weight, and I'm going to put in 140.6, no, 0.4. 6 was yesterday's. And see, maybe I don't want Alex or Marty to fix it. Now it says 140. So anyway, the guys are very responsive to suggestions from people. Oh, what does the daily lesson say? And then I need to finish and go inside and have some, I don't know what I need to have. 3 steps forward, 1 step back. Well, that kind of feels like it with sickness. Read more. All right. Don't be surprised if you find yourself backsliding occasionally. Whoops, you can't see the whole screen. Weight loss is rarely a linear process. It's also natural to follow a fasting and feasting cycle that ebbs and flows with the varying needs of your body. It's normal and healthy to want to eat more sometimes, especially if you've been restricting a little too much. It may take a few days to get back to where you were, but you should be able to deplete your glucose stores more quickly than last time because you have already burned off some excess fat. If you find yourself particularly hungry, there is no need to be ashamed of eating to satiety. However, you will iron out the bumps in your routine and ensure a long-term trend towards your goals as you follow the guidance of your pre-meal trigger. So close that and be done with this morning's little clip. Well, getting showered and dressed helps change the perspective. So I'm feeling better, and now I'm just folding some clothes to help my daughter out. I'm alone in the house today, for which I'm grateful. I'm the point person for service people to come today and check out the water damage. There was something I wanted to share. Okay, so because I am under the weather today, I'm just going to take it easy. I actually did walk a little bit on the tread desk at a slow speed until the dryer went off, and that felt good. I mean, I'd rather do that. I'd rather stroll along slowly, as long as I'm feeling well enough to be upright. I'd rather do that than sit on the couch. I don't feel bad enough to be on the couch or in bed. So thankfully it's just a simple cold, and hopefully it'll pass quickly. I looked in the kitchen to see what I might fix up for food when I get ready to eat something, and I am tracking my glucose hourly today, just because I'm curious, since I did see that higher glucose, and I'll share my hourly numbers with you later on. There's no sense in updating you blow by blow. But anyway, I was in the kitchen and I looked at some of the possibilities. I was thinking about the green drink using the strawberry tops that just did not appeal at all yesterday, and I'm a little more amenable to the thought today, so maybe I'll do that. But I do want to stick with the protein focus in my day, even if I choose to have carbs to make it easier on my body, and cut out the fats, just focus on carbs for fuel today. So I found something that I think might be enjoyable, and that I could leave out the fats, which means that I wouldn't be eating the rest of that flourless chocolate cake, torte, or whatever thing it is. And it also means that I won't be eating the cheesecake that is sort of a combo cheesecake and chocolate cake layered together. I won't be eating that today. I don't think I will, because that would muck things up. That would give me fats along with the carbs. I think my glucose will do a whole lot better. Something is thumping. It was just the neighbors bringing in their trash cans. Today is trash day. I thought maybe something was off balance with the washing machine. So if I keep my focus on protein and carbs, I can still have an advantage tomorrow when I get on the bathroom scale. But if I muck things up today by doing protein, this needs to go back in the dryer, by doing protein and carbs and fats, it'll be a little harder for my body to clear both fuels, and I just won't have the success I want, I'm pretty sure, but when I step on the scale tomorrow morning. And I won't have the success that I would like in improving my glucose numbers too, because the way we improve our glucose numbers is to focus on protein and one fuel at a time, or one energy source, as Marty would say, at a time. So fuel or energy source, those are fats and carbs. And then protein is the third macro in that trinity. So the macro trinity is protein, carbs, and fats. But and protein can be turned into a fuel, but it's much harder for the body to break down protein than it is to deal with fats or carbs. And here's an interesting thing that I don't know if you know. Fats have 9 calories per gram. Protein has 4 calories per gram. And carbs have 4 calories per gram. So protein and carbs are both 4 calories per gram. And fats are 9 calories per gram. So fats are way more energy dense. And keep going in your thinking thread, Lori. And protein, even though it's the same calorie, 4 calories per gram as carbohydrates are, it's harder for the body to break down protein. It breaks it down into all these different amino acids and rebuilds them again into new amino acids for the body. So it's actually a whole lot easier to lose weight if you're protein focused. And Marty's got some good content on that topic of being protein focused. In yesterday's video, I added a link to an interview that Marty did with Brian Mole. Brian was releasing a new book about the protein sparing, well, I don't remember the title, but it is about protein sparing modified fasts. Not something you can live on all the time. That's not a good idea, but it is a fast weight loss technique. So anyway, I feel like I'm starting to ramble, so I will just shut this off for now until I can collect my thoughts and feel like I have something more valuable to share, depending on as my day goes along. But I'm glad to not be feeling as poorly as I was this morning when I started videoing. I was back on the tread desk and I got a hunger pain, so even though it's not an hour since I last tested, I went ahead and tested because I got a hunger pain and wanted to see what the number was. It was a glucose of 97, which is not down to my temporary trigger, of 93. But I decided I'll come to the kitchen and go ahead and start making the food that I think I want to eat when I get hungry again and when I think it's time to go ahead and break my fast. So my daughter had some oranges in her fruit bowl, and I thought, what can I do with those? And then I looked in the fridge and saw that she had some marmalade, and she's got some apricot all fruit stuff, and that other jar, the short squat jar, is also a form of marmalade. It's made out of blood oranges. So I think what I'm going to do is make some sort of a orange jam concoction to go into my protein crepes, and then I will use some of my 0% fat Greek yogurt. So that will provide me with protein and carbs, but keep the fats out. These melons from the fruit bowl also need to be cut up, and they kind of sound appealing to me, so maybe later today I'll have some of those, and if I don't, at least they're cut up and ready for the family to go ahead and eat without having to stop and cut them. And this is the last thing that's on my mind about preparing. So I saw the red onions in the fruit vegetable bowl, and I thought, maybe some roasted red onions would be a healthy thing to eat when I have a cold or whatever. And then I remembered that I had mashed up some garlic earlier in my visit. So I pulled that out of the fridge. And of course, we still have my daughter's sourdough bread to eat up, and I hate to have that go to waste. It is getting dry and stale, but I can slice it up and I can toast it. And if I roast up these tomatoes, they will make a nice juicy mixture that I can add the roasted red onion and roasted garlic into, and smear that on the toasted sourdough bread without adding any fats. So, and I think that would be a nice crunch to be able to eat, because nothing else that I've thought of preparing has crunch to it, unless I wanted to cut up some carrots, which we do have plenty of in the fridge. I like to have a variety of textures when I eat. So that's why I'm thinking of the sourdough bread as giving crunch, and then making a mixture out of these roasted tomatoes, roasted red onion, and roasted garlic to make some sort of a mixture to go spread on top of toasted slices of sourdough. So that's the scrounging around I've done this far today. Well, I made my lunch and I have absolutely no desire to eat it. My blood sugar, I'll just tell you this one that I just took, I've gone up to 104. So I have this beautiful lunch that I could sit down and eat, and I just have absolutely no desire to eat it. I think I'm going to lay down and take a little rest, and then maybe I'll feel like eating it when I wake up. Thankfully, this can hold. So I made, while I've got the screen going, that's one of my protein crepes that I made the other day. I just warmed it in the microwave a little bit so it would be pliable. I filled it with a creamed cottage cheese that I had added the creamy, dreamy plant protein to, the Trim Healthy Mama product, which I really like a lot and highly recommend. I filled it with, creamed cottage cheese, the creamy, dreamy plant protein, which then was also thinned down because it was so thick, with kefir, double fermented kefir. I don't think I put a link in that about double fermented kefir in one of my other videos when I mentioned it, so I will put that information in this video description box. Then there's, I sliced up 2 oranges, and some of the oranges are inside and some of the slices are on the outside, and I did use a mixture of the 2 kinds of marmalade. I didn't use the apricot one that I had out. I just put that back in the fridge. So I used the grocery store marmalade, and then I used the specialty one that was the blood orange marmalade. So that's kind of layered on that's put on top with another dollop of creamy mixture, which is just 0% fat Greek yogurt. I sprinkled the whole thing with cinnamon and with nutmeg. And then I have a cup of oolong tea using 2 tea bags because it's a large mug and I like my tea strong. I will, if and when I get hungry, I'm going to start with the cucumbers. I'm starting with veggies first, veggie starter, just like Jessie in Chelsea teaches, and there'll be a link for one of her podcast appearances in the description box and a link to her book about glucose revolution. She talks about food order, and she says you do not have to get a continuous glucose monitor, a CGM, like she wears to test and validate all of these things she's teaching about. You do not have to do finger sticking tests, but she said you will benefit in your glucose health if you practice some food order principles when you eat. Eating a veggie starter first, then having some protein and more veggies. And then if you want to have some whole food carbohydrates, to have that. And finally, save your dessert for last. And I toasted up my daughter's sourdough bread to, it's kind of a bruschetta idea, this plate here. So that's her sourdough bread, 2 slices of it. And then that's a mixture of the roasted cherry tomato halves or grape tomatoes with minced or diced red onion and roasted garlic all mixed together. There's no fat. I added no fat to this meal. So this meal is protein and carbohydrates. And that's kind of the way I want to stay today. Anyway, I need to go take a rest. I finally did eat that meal, and then I started to feel a little bit better. And instead of leaving my day as just carb and protein focused, I ended up continuing to eat and had some junk. I finished up the flourless chocolate cake, tort, whatever it is, the little bit I had left of that. And then I ate a treat that my daughter brought home the other night, a chocolate covered caramel s'more. And was there something else? I feel like there was something else. But, oh, and I had some cherries, but that was more carbs. Anyway, I didn't go hog wild on junk, but I had enough junk that I do regret it a little bit. Then I started to fade again, and I took my blood sugar, off and on all morning long, about every hour. My waking blood sugar this morning was 99. Then it went up to 109 an hour later. It did drop down to 97 and then 96. And it was then it was 99. Then it bumped up a little bit to 104. Tonight, when I took it at almost 7 o'clock, it was 102. Right now, it's almost 9 o'clock, and I'm ready to call it a day. But my blood sugar's down to 89, whatever that means. So, and I am feeling a little better. So maybe I'll see a good blood sugar tomorrow morning. I don't have a whole lot more to say right now. I want to go to bed. It was kind of a hard day, not feeling well. I'm proud of myself for getting this video done today. And it wasn't as short as I thought it would be. It wasn't as short as I thought it would be, but it's not as long as the one the day before, which I think I actually went over an hour. Anyway, here we are, end of day 12 of my 30-day challenge, and I'll see you in the morning.